social, but not really. This one is going to be about Twitter, as the argument has been rearing its head for a while now and keeps going back and forth. And while the for and against battle it out over whether the CEO is a good guy or not, watching and waiting to see what develops. And so far, there are a few wobbles and signs that all is not what it seems. What is these days? But how I view Twitter and its strange setup is as a virtual pub which operates 24 hours a day, has odd staff and rules, and instead of alcohol on tap for a price, this has entertainment on tap, for free, being provided by the host and the people themselves. Although recently has a split system occurring, where a monthly fee can be paid to afford you special privileges. Now, if it was a premises, you would think with free and paid, that would be two different experiences, wouldn't you? The cheap seats versus the posh ones. Instead, it's like all sections of class and society rocking up to the same venue and all mingling together. When have you ever had that kind of collection of folk before? Festivals maybe, where once you are in and you're involved, you forget because fun and experience takes over, so the divides of society tended to diminish. But in the online one, sometimes, but not so much. Because imagine going into that pub, and instead of it being faces and people talking and socialising, it's full of masks, costumes, and people performing a part. Showing off, shouting, shit-stirring, and making a big song and dance about everything. You'd end up leaving that pub, wouldn't you? Or try to find a quiet corner at a minimum, and stay out of the drama as best you can. But then the circus decided to turn up too, and it starts to feel a little crazy and cramped. Oh, hang on, a bunch of journalists just bundled in as well to bulk it up a bit. Businesses and corporations too, and government and all their services, all trying to squeeze into one venue, all wanting their moment, to be heard and validated and get their share of the reach. Could you imagine trying to physically get through that? Having to high-five people as you mingle through, being stopped all the time for someone to shove a product in your face or shout their opinion at you. Now, in that pub, you have choices. You can either leave and not pay any attention at all. You can ignore everyone in there, and by giving them statue face, they instantly know you aren't listening to them, and turn to the next person for what they require. Or the third option. You stand there and let them wear you down with the constant stream of products, emotions, information, thoughts, fears, wants, worries, and everything else the internet wants you to be aware of. All at once if you have that capacity. And if you do, I can only hope you also have the capacity to switch it off and not let something virtual so easily get to you physically. But I believe it's probably too late for some on that score. Already having integrated themselves with the online system, their physical and real life doesn't quite function as it should, and seems the problem perhaps, rather than the other one being the issue. I've mentioned before about people's expectations of life being moulded by television, media, and scripted episodes of things, with set drama and conclusions, going as it is meant to, even when it is to a bad end. Life often takes its own path, scripting itself as it goes, with its players having to think on their feet and make life what it is. People aren't sure how to deal with that, it seems, or really take part, and would prefer it to be very ordered and somewhat manipulated, with very little effort or input from themselves. The height of psychological laziness, I guess, expecting life to just happen around you and to you. But could also be a survival mechanism, to cope with the fast-paced setup we have in Western society, which has placed maybe a few too many demands on people mentally, and the cracks are starting to show. What the ultimate achievement they are looking for is still up for speculation, as to why they want a strange, rigid pub for lots of different people to be partaking in, as well as bots we are led to believe. And in that venue, they monitor you 24/7, what you say and to whom, your ideas and creativity, all analysed and accessed. What people fight against in real life, they willingly seem to do online, knowing there is a control to it. But because you are already in, you think, what does it matter? As does everyone else. So if there was no last orders and nobody called time, would you have ever gone home? Naturally, things are supposed to run their course, and being able to leave things behind or change as needed for the development of your own life should be normal. But some of the things that have pushed themselves into society and general life do not seem to ever want to have an end and need you tied in, signed in, logged in, to fulfill their need of your attention and consuming habits that have been so meticulously encouraged and groomed. If everyone just went about their business of living, going outside every day, and didn't check a screen or a newspaper for anything, how would they get to you? They wouldn't, and that is the point. Same as if you just walked on by that pub. You wouldn't get to know any of the drama or what was going on in there, or become part of it. And no one forces anyone to be there. It's a choice, as is all of the virtual world at this point. You often don't get to choose how real life goes, unfortunately, and maybe that's why people find comfort and confidence in the other one. It offers a safety net of muted experiences that you wouldn't be able to control in the real world, because you aren't meant to. That's what makes real life so much more exciting than online.